Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant. I am so excited to be in the Sandwich Town Hall, the one that's on 6A and Tupper Road. And I'm going to be talking with one of our town special people, for lack of a better term. And I can't wait to talk to him. So come along. Let's have another Cape Conversations. Hi, everybody. Here we are back in the office of the town hall of the town clerk. Wait a minute. We're back in town hall with the office of the town clerk. Taylor White. Taylor, how are you?
Melinda, good to see you again as always.
Hey, listen, I'm glad to be here. Another year. And now we've got all this stuff coming up again. It's funny how fast it goes around.
We did this, last fall or summer of last year?
Right. And now we're back again. And now we're talking about fun things like town meeting
Tis the
and
season.
town voting and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're back. We're happy to be here and we're gearing up. So welcome to my office again.
Well, thank you. And it looks always neat and tidy. I always like that about your office
We try.
with really cool stuff in it. Anyway, that said, on another note, town meeting is coming up.
Yes.
So tell me what's going to go on at town meeting. When is it? When do I have to show up? Where is it? All that good stuff.
Thank you. The town meeting, the annual town meeting, which is prescribed by our bylaws and the charter, is the first Monday in May. So this year it's going to be May 5th.
May 5th.
The wild.
Wait,
What?
May 5th. Isn't that a special day?
Isn't that Cinco de Mayo?
That's what everybody's going to go in that loaded. Okay.
We have Cinco de Mayo this year. It falls every couple of years.
Oh, well, you should have some fun with that.
May 5th is the town meeting date. It is the wild west of New England politics, as we call town meeting, but
sure is.
it's the system in which we operate. Town meeting will be at the high school auditorium, as it always is, and it will start at 7 o'clock. Folks are encouraged to attend, get there a little bit early so we can check in and go through that process before the town meeting starts. But the moderator typically tries to start the meeting right at 7 o'clock. So
Wait, you said check in. So what do people do when they come in? So
check
I
in, yeah.
just landed from Mars.
Yep.
Or I moved here from Ohio. I have no idea how New England towns work.
Yep.
I want to go to town meeting. What do I have to do when I get to the high school?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because there's a lot of people who are not from here. And
Right.
New England, I said the wild west of New England politics, that is what town meeting is. It is an open forum. We here in Sandwich have an open town meeting, which means that any registered voter is able to participate in the meeting and vote and speak. So it's anybody, and we have 17,500 voters right now in Sandwich. Now, if they all showed up, we'd have a problem. But we're hoping for at least maybe 1,000 if we can get that
right.
much. Yeah.
Well, the auditorium holds what, 995?
We're right at 1,000 for that auditorium.
Yeah.
In that particular building, it's very rare that we get. While we encourage as many people to attend, the reality is we don't always get that. We would like higher attendance. The 900 people just about 1,000 can fit in the auditorium. Yeah. If we did get more, we have an auxiliary room where we could put people in. So we can hold a pretty big crowd.
Oh, that's great. Well, and we hope that people do come out because that's their civic responsibility.
It's something that people often don't do, but it is very important.
Well, don't complain if how do you complain if you don't know what's going on?
As the old adage, yeah. So we're trying to get, and we'll talk about that in a little bit about something we're trying to encourage people. Yeah. But checking in. Voters any registered voter who is in the town of Sandwich can come to the meeting. We have a little area outside the auditorium where my staff will verify that you are in fact a voter in Sandwich. They will check you in that you are now a member of that town meeting. They will give you a little clicker. We have these new devices.
Oh yeah.
I don't have one with me right now, but people can go on the website and check it out. There's these little clickers. Basically what it does is it substitutes the old process,
which was a card,
which was holding up a card for the yes votes and the no votes. So we've modernized that part of it, which is great. So when the moderator, when it comes time to town meeting and it starts and we're voting on whatever article in the warrant is being presented, voters can simply press yes or no on their little clicking device, and within a minute or so, it's tallied up, and we have a very quick answer as far as if an article is passed or it fails.
Well, first of all, I think that is probably the most wonderful, efficient thing you've ever done. Because as somebody who was a counter, I used to panic when okay. And then, of course, there'd always be that one guy who goes, well, no, wait a minute, I have the wrong card, and and all that.
It was an archaic way of doing it.
The only way then, but
it's the only. I mean, that's how it was been done for a very, very long time. But we were happy. I was happy to finally get the electronic voting into the meeting.
That's
And
great.
it makes it more efficient for everybody. It makes it more efficient for us who are conducting the meeting, and it makes it more efficient for the voters. And their time is valuable. So not having to go through that process, which you
With
thankfully did for many, many years, counting the votes, it can take a long time. So we're happy to speed up the process and make it more effective and more efficient.
So, will they do voice votes at all?
It's really up to the moderator.
Okay.
The moderator,
And who's
she'll
our moderator?
we have a new moderator. This will be our new moderator was elected in May of 24.
Right.
So Sean Roush is the current
Oh, yeah,
moderator.
that's right.
We have the ability, the moderator's discretion as far as whether to take a voice vote or electronic vote. I think it's been pretty much since the town has gone ahead and made the investment in the electronic,
Yeah.
we're typically going to be using those for every vote.
Yeah.
But it's really up to the moderator's discretion. But I think the moderator, and I don't speak for him, but has decided that that's how meeting will be conducted.
Well, then there'd be no question.
That's it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of times, if there is a vote that is taken at town meeting, if it's a yes or no vote, all the ayes say aye, aye, all the nays say nay, nay. And if it's close, the moderator would then go to a counted vote anyway.
Mhm.
So just eliminating that process and
Sure.
going to that vote,
Sure.
it only takes about 30 to 40 seconds to take each vote. So it's not adding too much time.
Right.
But it also avoids what we talked about,
Yeah,
the cards, which
with the
takes
cards.
sometimes 5-10 minutes to do.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that's
Oh.
who can vote.
That's who come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and how long does it last? I mean, am I going to be there for hours again?
It is a wild card. The warrant, which is put up by the Board of Selectmen,
Right.
they're going to be voting on that fairly soon, if it's not already up. Folks can look for that either on the Town Clerk's website or on the main page of the Town Clerk's
Mhm.
page, sandwichmass.org. It usually has to be legally posted between about 2 weeks before the meeting, so people
Mhm.
can look for that prior to the May 5th. It depends on how the progress goes, if there's things that are being debated more or less.
Yeah.
Typically, town meetings only go one night. Some towns go several nights.
Right. Well, we've
Sandwich,
gone
there's
couple of
been a
nights
couple of
before.
instances where it's gone 2 nights, but
a while
it's
ago.
that is the exception
Yeah. Yeah.
to the rule. But most of the time, meeting starts at 7. I would anticipate usually it goes 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gone later, but we're
Yeah.
usually pretty efficient in our conducting of the business.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
So, so they've come in, they've registered, they've got their clicker, and they have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, right?
Pledge of Allegiance. There's a couple of other pleasantries that are done at the beginning of the meeting, and then the moderator usually calls the meeting, like I said, to order fairly quickly
Right.
after 7 o'clock.
Right.
And begins with Article 1 and ends whatever the article
Article
is.
is.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
calls for an adjournment, and then we move on to the next big thing,
Yeah. Which is
town election, which would be fun.
Yay. Do we have all our town slots filled for people being elected?
This year, we don't
Oh,
actually. Yeah, so
I'm
there are
surprised.
there's usually about 10 different offices that are open every year, not 8 to
Really?
10.
Yeah.
This year, they're on our ballot.
Mhm.
There are 3 contested races. There is a race for the Board of Selectmen, the
Mhm.
1-year term, with the untimely passing of Michael Miller.
Mike Miller, yeah. Rest his soul.
Yep, he left a 1-year unexpired term that will be filled, and there's 3 candidates running for that one spot.
Mhm.
We have 2 school committee spots that are up this
Oh.
year, and there are 3 people running for that spot.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, there's a little
good.
company. There's been years that we've gone through where there's been no
No
competition.
competition.
So there's a couple of
Right.
contested races. There is a retirement of an existing constable. So there are 2 people running for the one spot in the constable position. So there's a little bit of activity. There's also a ballot question
Mhm.
concerning the wastewater funding.
Oh.
So there's going to be some interesting stuff. That is going to take place. The town election takes place again by charter and bylaw the first Thursday in May. So that is going to be May 8th.
Okay.
And people are encouraged to vote in that. We will be voting at our normal voting locations.
Which are where?
The precincts 1, 2, and 3 are going to be at the Corpus Christi Parish Hall, and 4, 5, and 6 are going to be located, as they always are, at the Center for Active Living.
Okay, great.
And
Good.
polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Right. And poll workers have to be there by 6:30.
Got to get you ready.
Ay,
So
ay.
so it'll be an interesting.
I'll have to spend the night in the parking lot of the cow.
It's a long day for it's one of our it's game day for us in the town clerk's office whenever elections happen. So
Absolutely.
this year we're I call it an off year
Mm.
in the sense that in 2014 we had 4 elections. We had the presidential primary, the local, the state election, and the general election,
Right.
which happened to be also a presidential election. This year we have
Crazy
one
busy.
election, which is the local.
Yeah.
And then next year we will go back into our cycle again. We'll be having a state primary, a local election, and then
Right.
the general. So
Right.
we're on a little bit of a low year, but we want to encourage participation in this one election. I always say your potency of your vote as
Yep.
voting in a voting
Much
election
more.
is much more than voting
Yep.
maybe in a state election or one of these federal elections, because you're one of seven, in this case, about 17,500 versus millions of people.
Right. Right.
So it's important to get people out and to make your voice. And as you said, if you don't vote, I guess you can't complain. Right?
No, just keep your mouth shut.
But we want
Like
everyone to
they say
open their mouth at the polls.
at the polls.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. We go back to town meeting though. So we've got the warrant in front of us, and I don't want to get into particulars of the warrant because it hasn't been set yet. But so I'm looking at, I looked at it before, right?
Mhm.
And I brought my notes with me because I want to hear what they're going to say about certain subject.
Yep.
So I know that you can get up and talk, but you have to get in line at the podium, right? There's a podium there that people talk.
Yeah. So as far as process is concerned,
Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes people get a little confused with the process, but once the moderator calls a question,
Mhm.
typically what happened is the board of selectmen or the finance committee or one of the other committees that was involved in getting that article onto the warrant will give its report, and at that point the moderator will ask if there's any debate on the particular
That's
article,
where they get up.
and then as again we have an open town meeting, any resident may get up and approach the podium. It's important to know that they must state their name and address for the record. And then speak their mind. Every voter will have 5 minutes to speak for or against an article, or ask a question about an article to the town officials on his or her first appearance on the microphone. If he or her come back again, there's a 2-minute limit, just to try to speed
Is that
things up.
new?
Yeah,
No.
that's always been the
Did they?
case. Yeah.
Okay. I just remember, people would get up and they'd tell about their entire background. They lived here for 150 years.
Yeah.
And,
By the time they get to the substance, that's
it was like
time is
I was
short.
already asleep.
So we try to encourage people. And in fact, one of the other implementations, which is new to town meeting, is we have basically a clock. It is. It's like I would call it the shot clock.
Yeah.
And it will, when a voter gets up, the timekeeper will start the 5 minutes and will count down 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If that particular voter comes back up again, it will count down 2 minutes. So it keeps everyone honest. It keeps the voter or the resident honest. They know how much time they have, and the whole auditorium, everyone behind them knows how much time they have to speak. So it hopefully keeps the meeting in an orderly fashion.
And also, you do get crowd reactions to people up at the podium. I know, you'll get applause, or you get, so it's kind of
Sometimes
interesting.
there's a little response depending on the topic and the speaker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now, can anybody call the question from the floor, or does it have to be a selectman that calls for the vote?
As far
Or
as
the moderator, I'm
the
sorry.
moderator, no. When you say calling the question,
Well, in other words, they've gotten up and they've talked and they've talked and they've talked, and finally, how the group gets a little restless if too many people talk?
yes,
Yes, so somebody yells out, "Call the question."
that's a privileged motion in the sense
Okay.
that that can be done at the microphone. Sometimes a moderator will allow it to be done from the floor.
I see.
It sort of depends on the temperature
you.
of the room.
Okay.
On a motion to move a question, it's something that's not debatable. But I think it's a 2/3 majority vote to pass at that point. So if we were talking about a particular article and someone said move the question, there would be no debate. Debate would stop. The moderator would call for a vote. If 2/3 of the audience voted in favor of calling the question, we would then
So they vote on calling the
they
question.
call the question. So that basically means, okay,
Okay.
we're going to move forward. We're going to stop debating the particular
Right now we're
article,
gonna vote.
and then they go directly on to voting on whether to pass the article at hand.
Well,
And
it
that
seems
will,
pretty efficient,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. There's a temperature you need to take at the meeting. While everyone's voice should be heard, and that's my view. I mean, the moderator is the one that runs the meeting, but sometimes things do get a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, the Wild West of genuine, anything can happen. But we encourage people to attend.
Right.
Again, 7 o'clock on May the 5th. Arrive at 6:30 or quarter till. Make sure you get checked in.
And the difference between our town meeting is anybody can go, whereas when it's representative town meeting, which Falmouth has, and
Yep.
well, Hyannis has a council now, I think.
Council, yeah. There's
Yeah.
different forms of town meetings.
Right, so
Falmouth does have it where, not
only
to-
certain people can vote or something
yeah, they have a basically you run for a town meeting member, and there's a
Right.
certain number of people that are allotted to
to
vote,
represent
to represent.
areas.
So
Yeah,
we tried that, introducing that.
I didn't know
Well, we
that.
tried introducing that as a charter change
Yeah.
a couple years ago, and
Then-
it failed. Town meeting
yeah.
said, no, we want to
We want-
maintain our power as
Yeah,
as
as a
as
group,
an
yeah.
entity. So they decided to pass that up,
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. That's funny.
which is funny because we're going to be talking about that coming up in April.
Oh yeah, because you're doing
Yeah.
something special, right? For town meeting, about town meetings.
Yes, the new moderator, myself, the town manager, and some of the other folks that are kind of involved in running town meeting are going to be putting together we're calling it Town Meeting 101.
Mhm.
And excuse me, and what we hope to do, it's going to be April 16th
Mhm.
at the Council on Aging, or the
Yeah.
COW,
The cow.
at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're just kind of opening the whole can of worms of town meeting and how it works. We're opening it up and just kind of hashing it out for folks. What one of the major points we want to get across is that if you're an attend, like you are, like you attend a lot of town meetings,
Mm.
probably wouldn't be the best class for you
Right.
because you're
I've
familiar
been there
with the
before.
process. You
Been
know
there,
how it
done
works.
that. Right.
But in a town of 20,000 people, there's a lot of people who have never attended town meeting,
Right.
or attended once or twice, or heard about town meeting. But we wanted to kind of demystify the whole thing, and educate people to say this is how it works. And I think once we're able to educate people and have them ask questions in a comfortable setting,
Mhm.
back and forth, and not like in a big meeting situation,
Sure.
it will hopefully attract more people to attend and
Sure.
be part of the process.
Well, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
we're
sure.
looking forward to that. So 5 o'clock, 16th of April
Right.
at the Cow building. Come on down.
Excellent. Do you know if it's going to be televised at all? I know the town meeting is televised on Sandwich Community Television, which is a wonderful thing. So will this be taped for better?
I believe we're working on trying to get it taped.
Okay.
My understanding from speaking to the moderator is that the moderator does want to do this type of town meeting 101 on an annual basis,
Okay.
to do it every year. So there'll be an
Sure.
opportunity every year prior to the annual town meeting for
Sure.
people to come and sort of get a little bit lesson on how it works.
Mhm.
But I believe they're also going to try to tape it. So if someone wants to watch it from the comfort of their home, they can do that as well.
Oh, that would be great. So when somebody moves to town, do they come here immediately? Well, first they go and get their license changed and all that stuff, I
Yeah.
suppose.
There's
But
so many.
it's been a long time since I moved here, so I don't remember what we did first.
If yes, the answer to your question is they can come here and they can register to vote in person.
Right.
There's also the Commonwealth offers what is called online voter registration.
Oh, that's right. That's great. Good.
And we get a lot of them in every day. You can go in and put your information in there. The registry of motor vehicles, when you get your license or you're doing any sort of business with them, Massachusetts automatically registers you to vote.
Right.
There's a couple of other ancillary ways to do it, but yeah, people are encouraged when they're new to town to get engaged in the process and make sure that your voice is heard for elections. There is a deadline. It used to be 20 days. You used to have to be registered 20 days before an election or a town meeting. Now it's been reduced to 10.
Oh.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It actually probably could be reduced a little more. The reason behind the 20 days, historically speaking, was
Mhm.
back in the olden days, there was literally voter lists that were made up.
Right.
They were written by hand.
Right.
So you had to be registered ahead of time so they could literally create this voter list. Now everything's electronic.
Right.
They can be produced in a matter of minutes. So the legislature a few years ago, when they did this whole election reform law, reduced the time of voter registration to 10 days. So it gives voters a little bit extra time. It doesn't really affect what we do.
Right.
But it's a decrease in that lengthy 20 days to 10. And actually, it probably could be shorter, but we'll see if they ever cross that bridge.
Well, that might be maybe a little bit too much or something. I don't
We'll see.
know. Yeah.
We'll encourage them.
Do you let if somebody comes in to register to vote, now talking about town meeting 101 or they're new to town, do you have any way of reaching them to let them know this is happening through email or a blast or something?
That's what I mean. It's really incumbent that we try to do the best we can through having discussions with
Yeah.
you,
No, sure.
through the newspaper.
Hey,
We use our
it's up in
website.
the middle of the night. We'll see this.
That's
So
right.
just
They'll know.
telling you.
We try to do as much outreach as possible.
Yeah.
My office, we put signs up around town, letting people know about the different events that are happening.
Right.
We do social media.
Yeah.
There is, if you go onto the town's website, you can sign up for email blasts about all these types of things and other things that are happening in town.
Yeah.
So we do the best we can. We post the warrant. There's notifications in the local newspaper. So the information's there. It's who's seeking it and who's paying attention. And we realize that in today's society, it's sometimes these types of things. If you're not engaged enough, or you're just busy with life, these things can pass you by. But we try to raise as many red flags, and not red flags, but just, hey, this is what we're up to. So we try to do the best we can to get the attention and let people know what we're doing.
Well, I've seen your things on social media, certainly, and I'm on the list to have something sent out if something big happens, know. So I see those things. But I didn't know, most people, I mean, it's your civic duty to figure out what's going on in your own community, I think. But not everybody thinks that way now. They're, as you said, they're busy with family and work and all of those good things.
There's so much to life, and we realize that, and while a random Monday night in May may not seem like a lot to people, we do, my office and the town being engaged in it says, we want you to participate in making your government what it is.
Right.
So we do the best we can to get that out. But we do realize that, like I said, there's life. It's not always conducive to everyone. But
no,
this is right now in Massachusetts, and the town of Sandwich, town meeting is the way that the legislative body and how we have opted to govern ourselves. So we have to operate within those walls, but want as many people into that room as possible.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and what else? What happens after this? You take the summer off and go to the beach?
That's it, just the beach for the rest of the summer. No, we have a lot in these, what I mentioned earlier, with these off years where we're not fully engaged in elections every couple of months. We do a lot of other projects. Like we have some database that we need to be updated. We'll do some archiving work. We'll do some organization in the office. So we keep ourselves very busy even in the summer months.
And you do weddings? You do all the license?
We do all that stuff never stops. Birth, marriages, and deaths, they're always occurring. So we're always filing those. But not to say we do enjoy the off years, because it's not as stressful as last year and some of the other years. But we do take advantage of some vacation time.
Yeah.
But we're always working here, and we're
great.
trying to do the best we can for the people of Sandwich.
It's nice to be able to see your family once in a while.
Yeah, they like when I pop my head in the door once in a while. True.
Those cute little girls. Well, so what you're saying to me is that everybody has to get out and go on Monday, May 5th.
Correct.
7 p.m. to the Sandwich High School on Quaker Meeting House Road, right?
That's correct.
And then go to town meeting. You walk in, you register, you get your little machine, your little clicker, and you get to vote there on things. And then on May 8th, which is Thursday, 3 days later, you get to vote. And voting is open from 7 to 8
p.m.
7 to 8. Oh, wow, that's a long day. Let's keep forgetting that. And you can vote at the Center for Active Living, which we all refer to as the CAL, or you can vote at Corpus Christi.
The Parish Hall.
The Parish Hall at Corpus Christi. Wow.
And if people don't know still don't know where they're registered or where they vote.
Oh, they don't.
They're always encouraged to call us,
Yeah.
or they can actually go on the Secretary of State's website, put in their address, and it will tell them where their voting location is.
And you can also vote here early, right?
We will, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. During the week leading up to the town election, which will be April 28th till May 2nd, we will be having in-person early voting here at the Town Clerk's office, 100 Route 6A. people may be familiar with the early voting in person that happens at the Cal building prior to the state elections. The volume is not as high for the local election for in-person early voting as it
Right.
was for those. So that's why we do it here. But during that time period from 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, the April 20th to the May 2nd, they can come in, they can cast their early vote, and those will be counted on election day.
Excellent. Good. Good, good, good. I don't know. I think we've almost covered everything that you possibly could do for this whole event
Well, good.
of
I
town
think we've
meeting.
been very efficient. No, that basically covers the next couple of months and what people
Yeah,
can expect
sure.
on yeah, we've covered most of it.
Excellent. Well, Taylor, I thank you very, very much
No, thank
for
you.
letting me be in your office again. And we're going to look forward to it. And I'll see you. I'll see you at all of it.
You'll be there.
I'll be there. I'll be there. You better be there. Excellent. Thanks, Taylor.
You're welcome.
Wow, Taylor White, Town Clerk. He was terrific, and he gave us all the information you could ever want to know about town meeting and voting. So I hope I see you at town meeting, and I hope I see you at voting. I'm at the Cal. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll come along next time for another Cape Conversations.